Hey, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Wednesday Wisdom on the Educational AD Podcast. We're going to be right back with this week's guest, but as always, hey, I want to give a shout out to my sponsors. Now, you've heard me say many times, these are all companies I used as an AD. They're all great companies. You should be using them too. So take 3 minutes, listen to our shout outs, then listen to our interview, then go and visit these sponsors. I'm telling you, you're going to be glad you did. Here we go. We want to say thank you to Sideline Interactive indoor score tables and video boards. Go to sidelineinteractive.com and you can schedule a live web demo to see their products in action. Probably one of the best purchases I ever made as an athletic director was our Sideline Interactive indoor score table. We use it for home games, of course, but we also use it for pep rallies, for signing ceremonies. Their products are tremendously versatile in their customer service. Just outstanding. Go to sidelineinteractive.com. Schedule that live web demo today. We also want to say thank you to Huddle. You know, as a football coach, I used Huddle for years, but when I became an athletic director, I made sure that our school was a Huddle school. And our coaches, our student athletes, even our parents just loved the tools that the Huddle platform provides. Go to huddle.com. Join the millions of users and turn your school into a Huddle school. That's huddle.com. We'd also like to say thanks to Vital Signs Wall of Fame. Now, Wall of Fame has been helping schools bring their legacy to life for over a decade with their video boards and technology, but their new content creation service takes it to a whole new level. Their talented team of writers and designers are going to take your story, your school's history, your coaches, your kids, and come up with compelling narratives that you can then post on your school's social media channel, maybe on a Wall of Fame video board. You really got to see it to believe it. Go to vitalsignswalloffame.com. Click on Content Services. You're going to be glad you did. We also want to say thank you to Home Campus. Things like scheduling, rosters, results, facility management, communication. Home Campus does all of these and does them better and faster than the other platforms. Did I mention athletic clearance and eligibility? That one alone is a game changer. Go to homecampus.com to get started. And for all of our sponsors, make sure you mention you heard about it on the Educational AD Podcast. Let's also thank Gipper. You know, Gipper is the modern marketing platform that makes it easy for you as an athletic director to share all the great things that your teams, your coaches, your kids are doing. Gipper is used and trusted by over 20,000 high school and college athletic programs. It's the #1 app for athletic marketing. One of the reasons it's #1 are the thousands of professionally designed templates that you can customize using your colors, your brands, your logos. Create, share, and schedule all your social media content on one simple platform, and that platform is Gipper. Go to Gipper.com for more information. We also want to say thanks to Booster Hub, the #1 Booster Club software app. If you help your boosters with things like booster signups, you know that booster changes are a daily occurrence. Well, with Booster Hub, nothing falls through the cracks. Everybody stays connected and engaged. The same thing is true for sponsorship fees and concession sales. Booster Hub does it all. Give your boosters the platform they need. Give them the platform they deserve. And that platform is Booster Hub. Let's also say thanks to Ohio University and their online masters in athletic administration. Speaking of #1, they're consistently ranked at the top of the online master's degree programs. Their graduates rave about the curriculum, the instructors, the cohort experience, and another thing, while they're completing their master's degree, they're also completing 11 NIAAA leadership training courses at no extra charge. Check out Ohio University and their online masters in athletic administration. And speaking of #1, we want to say thanks to Hometown. Hometown's suite of solutions includes things like, well, they are the #1 digital ticketing provider to schools and colleges, but they also have fee-free fundraising through School Funder, athletic website construction. The Hometown list goes on and on. Whether you're an athletic director, a head coach, even a principal, Hometown is going to show you how to save time. They're going to show you how to raise more money, and they're going to show you how to bring your entire community together. You'll find it all at hometown.com. And we want to say thanks to Athletic Surveys by LifeTrack. If you're not using a survey to take the pulse of your parents, your coaches, your student athletes, you're really missing out on a great opportunity. Athletic Surveys is going to create a custom survey just for you that's really going to connect you with all of your stakeholders. And the feedback that comes back, incredibly valuable. Go to athleticsurveys.com. And once again, for all of our sponsors, make sure you tell them you heard about it on the Educational AD Podcast. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Wednesday Wisdom on the Educational AD Podcast. If you're a regular listener, you're certainly going to recognize today's guest, Stephanie Splater. She is the Executive Director for Athletics and Activities for the Spokane Public School System. She's a regular contributor to the podcast. If you missed her previous segments, go back to our Spotify archives. She not only has a full interview, she's done a couple of Wednesday Wisdoms. She's also a member of our West Coast leadership team, frequent contributor on all things athletics. Stephanie, welcome back to the Educational AD Podcast.
Great. Thanks for having me. Been looking forward to it.
Well, for our listeners, it's summertime. Hopefully you're getting some well-deserved rest and downtime as an AD, but it's never too soon to start planning for the coming fall school year. Stephanie, you were sharing a new initiative that you're getting ready to launch up in Spokane. I think it's really a cool idea. Can you share with our listeners what's coming up for you?
You bet. We have been really focused the last few years in Spokane schools on creating high quality athletics programs pretty much from the ground up, because we've been, post-COVID, we've also been leadership transitions and so on. And we really have a zeroed in focus right now on getting better, not just on the field, but helping our students become even healthier and well people heading out into the world after their high school experiences. And a layer that we're adding in this year is a series of parents' wellness workshops to talk about everything from nutrition to strength and conditioning, speed and agility, really how things work. We always find that parents, we got 30,000 families in Spokane schools, and some of them really struggle with the registration process. And we want to make some just personal connections. We've had a lot of success the last few years in different building blocks that we've been putting into place for a successful athletics program. And we think that looping in our parents is going to be really a key part. And I'm thinking off the top that, it's always hard to get people to show up. So we're going to do some different entry points. We're going to do a big kickoff with a guest speaker. We're fortunate to have a really rich athletics college and pro community around here, both with, the Washington State University. We've got a former quarterback from there who has a series that he's going to present to our parents. We also have just local universities. Gonzaga in particular has some really cool people that we've connected with that will be having as guest speakers, talking about student wellness and how parents can get involved in both supporting at home and within the school system. We've also got just some really cool people that work in my department. I've got Andrew Gardner, who's one of our engagement navigators, and he's a former All-American steeplechaser and state champion, a local state champion in both cross country and track. He's a high-level athlete who came to us from Gonzaga University as well for his graduate experience. And he's really leading the charge on this initiative and this wellness collaborative that we're going to do with our parents. So we're really excited about it. It's in the early stages, but it's going to be a tradition, a new Spokane schools tradition, and something we're going to kick off this year.
Again, you and I talked about this a little bit. It's something that traditionally high schools or schools really haven't done. It's kind of like we'll run the athletic department and parents, you kind of stay in your lane. But this generation of parents, they want more information. They're almost desperate for it. And there's some great resources out there, and there's also some that are probably not so great. So seeing the school district take a leadership role on this, I think it's a great idea. And you probably, as you already alluded to, you've got some great people that could present some different sessions. Have you mapped it out enough, different topics or different presentations yet?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that we're thinking of is, like I mentioned before, different entry points. So a big kickoff, large group, keynote speaker style of what you can expect and kind of generate some enthusiasm for the year. And then after that, we'll always be recording everything so that people can access it later and so on. We've got a pretty robust communications department around here, which is awesome. And then after that, it will be targeted. Specific specific topics, both drop-in sessions to talk about things with their peers and others, guest speaker led, workshop style experiences. We know that in the middle of winter here in the Pacific Northwest, it's kind of a dicey time to get out and about. So we're planning some virtual connections right in the middle of the winter about topics, thinking about, heading into the spring season, even though it's midwinter, what can we be doing to help students? We also have some hands-on experiences planned where we're going to get the parents with the kids in the weight room at certain times in the year, just so they can see what actually happens and how these layers can benefit our student athletes and their overall wellness, health, and also competitive level. So I think it's going to be a mixture. We're calling it a wellness initiative. It's going to be a series of workshops. One thing that I've really noticed we have this wonderful new downtown stadium that all of our high school soccer and football teams play at. So I spend a lot of time there. And this generation of parents wants to hang out with each other. I can just tell that they come to games for a social connection and around something that's important. And we're hoping to mimic that with these wellness workshops, that it's also a time for parents to be able to connect with each other, just to increase that sense of belonging and connection like we're doing with our students with other initiatives. So we're really hoping to get a great group of parents there at all of these things. But yeah, mapping it out with a big kickoff, like to start everything with a big splash and a really motivational speaker. We've got a couple probably that'll be in that first session, and then get people excited about coming to the other opportunities and also have them have options. I mean, some parents are great at nutrition. Some parents really help their kids maximize their potential from that lens. And that might not be of interest to them, but strength and conditioning might be. So that having different options throughout the year, and it'll definitely be a through thread with a touch point each month of some sort, whether it's, sending a cool podcast or article to our group, or whether it's an in-person session, or if it's in the middle of winter, those virtual sessions, and then those hands-on experiences will be super fun to have our parents and our kids together. I think the nuts and bolts also, what we were hoping was that we can take little pieces of this wellness workshop and then consistently sprinkle it into our school's coach meetings and parent meetings so that they're hearing the same thing. So even if parents aren't coming to the wellness workshop, they're all hearing the same message. And really, this strategy is another layer to, like I mentioned early on today, to get better, to really enhance our programs and have a high quality athletic program, not just one that goes out there and does their thing and competes, but what can we do? And we really realized that our families, our parents are so key to the success of our student athletes, not just wins and losses, but the overall experience. I always think about my why. My why is the student experience. I want all students to have the best experience possible in whatever it is they're doing. I always think of when you have a memory that just stays with you, it means it was really impactful, because I'm 48 years old and I remember being 17 and 18 in high school, clear as day. Like I remember all the details because it was so impactful to be a cheerleader, to be a sprinter on the track team, to be on the basketball team. Those experiences were so rich, so high quality, and just really shaped me. So I want to make sure that we're doing that for kids. And we think in Spokane schools that layering in our parents and their education and their involvement and their connection to know that we care a great deal about their kids and their experience is really going to help this be successful.
Boy, so many great things in there. It's actually a whole different show.
Mm.
You talk about your age. I'm a lot older than you. I just had my 50th high school reunion last summer,
I got the
and
30 this weekend. 30's this weekend.
the
Yeah.
my core group back in high school, I'm still in touch with every single one of them.
Yeah. So
And when
important.
we get together, what do we talk about? It wasn't the chemistry class or the world languages. It was, hey, remember that bus ride? Remember that game? And I went into a career in education and sports, but I got one guy, he was an engineer, another guy who worked he became a vice president for Blue Cross in Oregon, and just down the line. But it was those experiences in interscholastic athletics with great
Yeah.
coaches, great leaders that shaped them and helped them become the successes that they were. Um, Looking at putting this program together, because I'm guessing we've got some ADs that are listening right now that are thinking that's a great idea. I'm going to guess you had input from a lot of different sources. I remember, when I was an athletic director, I always was fortunate with, I'll go low, two or three, there were probably more, great parents that I could call and
Yeah.
get some feedback from. Did you get some parent input as you were and your team were putting this program together?
Yeah, we started a couple years ago. Yeah, so we're heading into the third year now of we are doing postseason surveys with our families. And so each, after fall, winter, and spring, we're sending out a survey to our families that is pretty open-ended. And so we gathered some feedback there that they have a lot of ideas that they want to share. To be honest, other than, some uh, crisis style. We got to, move on from a coach, which it happens, but that wasn't the focus. We're getting a lot of parent input via those surveys that really share that they do want to connect and they do want to learn more about programming and also sharing some of their concerns and pressure points. So that was one way that we got this feedback. Another way is, like you mentioned, getting them involved, engaged, and enthusiastic about this. I definitely some intentional outreach to make sure that certain parents are there. I recently talked with a great parent at one of our schools who she's just desperate to be involved. She has kids who are athletes in one of our bigger high schools. She is the booster lead for that school, but she wants to do something more and different. So she's going to run spirit clubs at both the high school and the feeder middle school to get more students to games and engaged and involved. She's the kind of parent that we will do intentional outreach to make sure she's at these workshops because she wants to be. And I know her, we live in the same neighborhood and actually went to school together. She's going to bring 10 people because they're all, connected and interested. And I think that's really important because that particular school has a lot of success, but also has a lot, to build on as far as the parents understanding how things work and how their students could benefit from these workshop experiences around nutrition and strength and conditioning in particular. So I think the biggest challenge of this is getting those parents engaged and involved, and at the same time intentionally weaving in our athletic directors. They're going to be a part of this. They won't be necessarily fully planning it, but I want them to be at sessions and then, like I said, those through threads at their team meetings and parent meetings and so on. They're all experts in certain fields, of course, so they'll be there. In addition, I've got the luxury, and I say this, and I know that not everybody has this, but I have the luxury of having five people in my department that are engagement navigators for each of the high school feeder patterns. So each AD's school of the five we have engagement navigators whose whole job is to get students and parents involved. That's their role. So they're the ones that are actually leading. I talked about Andrew earlier. They're the ones that are leading. I'm the big idea person on this, and they're the ones that are actually going to be boots on the ground, leading it and constructing and organizing it. I think of them sometimes as like assistant ADs in some ways. I mean, they do other things with student engagement, like clubs and other really big pieces. It's all part of our Engage IRL initiative, but it's leveraging, the expertise of people and making sure we have those connections. The engagement navigators probably spend more time with parents than school personnel do, just because they're talking to them about getting students involved. And so, great opportunity to loop parents in at that point. Our ADs, this is going to definitely um, boost and strengthen what they're already doing really well. And this was one thing I intentionally, from a central lens, didn't want to have them completely have to plan. But I think that this could be an outline for others to use, and access the resources that you have within your school systems as well. Because I just think we're past the days of having, handing out a flyer about how to act as a parent. I mean, there was a day for that, right? It's the first thing I did in this role in 2018. Somebody handed me a flyer and said, "Oh, we need to update this for the parents." And I thought, well, who's reading that? But at the same time, this is like a modern way, I think, to reach out and connect our community. We just we have a lot of momentum right now in Spokane, not just Spokane schools, but in our Spokane wider community. And I think this is a great opportunity to take advantage of that momentum and really get people together to boost the experience for our kids. And frankly, like I said before, not all about wins and losses, but this is going to result in a more winning culture because our kids will be healthier and more ready to compete. So excited about that, and I'm cautious on the ADs having to organize too much of it, but they'll certainly be present at the sessions. They'll be involved in, that's my main group I work with, of course, and then they will have those consistent pieces that they can weave throughout their meetings and connections. We recently just purchased a new communication tool for our athletics department. And so these types of messages will also be reiterated in that tool. So that'll be really cool too.
Yeah, you had a common theme throughout this segment on communication and consistent communication, from
Yeah,
administration, down to, the coach. I've mentioned this many times, nothing's going to torpedo an AD quicker than a coach who's gone rogue and, the AD saying this, but the coach is delivering a different message. So yeah, that consistent communication. And again, the resources, the AD doesn't necessarily have to put this together or be the point, but they still have access to it. They can contribute and be, I guess, for lack of a better word, kind of a cheerleader for the individual speaker or the program that's being put on. And
right.
I hear this all the time. I do a lot of parent programs, and AD will have me come in and I'll speak
Yeah,
to the parents on a back to school night. And before I even speak to the parents, I'll ask the AD, what are a couple things that you're already having conversations with your parents about? And so I come in and I say pretty much the same thing in a different way. And it's like, oh my goodness, that's an incredible,
right.
perspective. And
Yeah.
it's just
I love a different entry point like that, but you're
that that
right.
that new
Yeah.
voice, it just has so much power. But again, I'm reinforcing what that AD has been sharing. Very, very, very cool stuff.
Yeah.
Now, this is set to kick off for this coming fall, 2026.
Yep, we hope to have our kickoff event in September. We start school a little earlier around here this year, so we're all feeling the pinch of getting ready earlier. We start August 26th. We're used to after Labor Day, so we'll be doing it as a back to school September. Everybody is settled in, and then intentionally before seasons, and then the different workshops that are available throughout the months. But yeah, kicking off in September. So time's ticking, but we're real excited to get it going and to generate some enthusiasm, and hopefully get some great quality people to show up and to connect with each other.
Well, knowing you, I know it's going to be a tremendous success. So, speaking of that, if one of our listeners wanted to reach out, pick your brain a little bit more about how you do things at Spokane, or just add you to their network. And listeners, if you're new to the podcast, Stephanie has a tremendous background as an athlete, as a coach, and as an athletic director. What's the best way that our listeners can connect with Stephanie Splater?
Oh, absolutely. I am deep in LinkedIn and I love it. That's a great place to connect. I've made so many cool connections based on, being on this podcast and in the think tank and so on. So that's been really cool. So I'm on LinkedIn, so feel free to connect with me there. I'm always up for a good old-fashioned email. So Stephanie SP at SpokaneSchools.org is a great way. Um, Pretty focused on LinkedIn right now as far as my general platform, but always love to also share that if you want to see some really cool things going on with what I'm connected to, and my contact is on there as well. Our SpokaneSchools.org /stories page is a really good glimpse into what we do in Spokane schools and also has my contact there. So just glad to connect anytime and love when someone reaches out and we have a quick conversation about something that we all have in common or that we're working on. So absolutely anytime, love to connect.
And that's how you and I connected, was on LinkedIn.
Yeah, fun.
Well, Stephanie, all the best for a continued relaxing, hopefully, summer vacation. As our listeners are listening to this episode, I guess it's going to be about 1 week before full disclosure. I'm coming to Spokane.
Yes, exciting. That's great.
Stephanie's invited me to present to her athletic directors. We're going to spend a day together. I'm excited. Hopefully, they are, and
Yep, they sure are.
looking forward to it. For listeners, we do want to say thanks for tuning in and just remind you that we upload the Zoom recordings of every interview to the Educational AD Podcast YouTube channel. We do this just about every week and just about every day. We try to share stories and best practices from the world of athletics. So please come back and join us again on the next episode of Wednesday Wisdom on the Educational AD Podcast. We'll see you next time. Hey, before we go, we don't want to forget about our sponsors. Now, again, I'm not going to give you the whole 30-second pitch for each one, but go and visit these companies. They are tremendous assets to have as an athletic director. And again, I used them. I can recommend them highly. Hometown. Now, whether it's ticketing, fundraising, or more, check out Hometown. Athletic surveys. If you haven't used a survey, you really need to check out athleticsurveys.com. Sideline Interactive, indoor score tables and video boards. You'll find them at sidelineinteractive.com. Huddle, as a football coach, as an AD, I swear by Huddle. Ohio University and their online masters. My assistant AD got his master's through the Ohio program. Booster Hub, it's the #1 Booster Club software package. Gipper, go to gipper.com, home campus. You'll find them at homecampus.com. And Vital Signs Wall of Fame, you'll find them at vitalsignswalloffame.com. Thanks again for listening. We'll see you next time on the Educational AD Podcast.